Hey guys, thanks for coming back and tuning in. As you can see, I have covered the walls with just an eighth think of plywood sheets. That was difficult too because this van isn't built symmetrically. Well, it is and it is not. But number one, it's oval, so um, no matter what you cut, no matter how you measure, it's still going to be kind of out of shape. So that was difficult. And so each piece that you see here that I've installed, like this piece here, for example, is not the same size as the one I have on the other side. And that goes pretty much for all pieces that I have in here. So if you're building your van yourself, a few things that I learned is expect that you have a lot of wasted wood, a lot of cuts that you can't use or that you only need pieces of. In total, I have purchased, I think, 6 plywood sheets that I've cut out. I still have some pieces left over. They're just not here in the van. I just left them at work for now. And had to measure and make sure that they get installed onto the framing that I've made. So let me give you a quick show around. So the ceiling here, as you can see, is oval, right? Like with most vans. And this is not tongue and groove. It is shiplap, that's what they call it. Shiplap that I screwed into the frame, and then I just put the covers on here for my fans. They're all wired in. And then I forgot to make a frame for my windows, so I had to get that one done first, make a frame, and then put these pine wood on. So it is not pretty, I have to admit it. So there's going to be a lot of wood fillers that's going to come into the cracks once I'm doing my finishing, but for now at least it's covered, and it's noticeably warm in here. I still have troubles with my diesel heater. There's exhaust fumes coming in, although I sealed it up on the bottom. So I have to figure out what's up with that, but today isn't too cool that I would need it. Up here I had to trick a little bit with the shiplap. As you can see, it's not that pretty, but I essentially screwed a little piece of wood behind here and then screwed this onto it, so it kind of gives it a frame and a nicer-ish finish. I left these exposed because that's where cabinetry is going to go onto, as well as on the other side. This one is, I believe, hardened steel, or it's double folded. It's difficult to drill a hole into here, so what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to take one of my leftover pieces of plywood and just glue it onto here to kind of cover that up, as well as the walls here that I have that divides the cab from the cargo area. So yeah, you probably noticed that I have some new wood here. What I'm gonna do with that today is gonna cut that into size to fit in between here and here to essentially build my bed. And then I just used the 2 leftover your pine boards to make the slats. So I'll check back with that on you later once I'm done, okay? All right, thanks for now. last one. For some reason, this one is shorter. It's only 72 inches. And the one on the furthest front here is 74 inches. So, as I said before, nothing in this van is proportionate. Couldn't have cut 74 4 pieces at the same size. That would not have worked. I put myself in here. So the goal here is to make kind of like 2 beds. And I'll put bars across and go from there, see how that goes. It's fairly sturdy. These ones will definitely hold my weight. One will hold my weight already. All 4 of them can even hold much more weight. Okay, so I'm going to cut up these pine boards, kind of put them across, and see how those ones are going to look like. And hopefully have my 2 beds. All right, I'll check back in later. Always try to clean it up as good as I can so I don't carry all the dust inside. Here's another leftover piece. I obviously made sure that these bars are spaced out evenly. Perfect. So I've got 2 in there now. So by the looks of it, I'm probably gonna put 1 in the middle, another one here, another one there. So make it 5 in total per bed. Let's see how that goes. I'm gonna show you in a bit. All right, the first one is done. So I estimated a little bit too conservatively. I ended up making 7 for the first bed. I still have to space them out equally and measure it. However, I ran out of board, so yeah, next goal is gonna be I'm gonna head over to Home Depot, buy another board. I'm gonna measure it how much I need, and finish it later on. So first of the 2 beds is done. ended up using 8 crossbars instead. 7 would have worked, but I think 8 is more comfortable, and I would assume there's still enough airflow underneath the mattress, and it's pretty sturdy. Sitting on here, shaking around up and down, no cracks, no noises, nothing. I can scooch and slide over. So yeah, I think 8 is the number to go with these 6-inch wide panels. You know, you don't have to use panels. I just use them because I have them left over. I should have probably done the math before, but I'm figuring it out as I go. It's my first van build. So I'm gonna go to Home Depot, get more material to complete the second bed. And go from there. Alrighty. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Sorry for the poor lighting. So the bed is done. I ended up buying a couple more slats. Actually making slats out of the pine boards that I have left. Unfortunately, I had to split a few of them apart and put them at non-essential spaces, you know, like by the feet where it doesn't need to hold much weight. It's still extremely sturdy, so don't get me wrong, right? Even though there's a couple of skinnier ones in between because I didn't have enough to go around, I still made it work, you know, especially here in your hip area where you're lying down with your back and your hip and your belly, you know, kind of use the 2 heavy boards there, another skinny one here, and then by the head then a little lighter one, right? You know, so it's gonna work out. I'm pretty confident it will. I sat on it, I lay down on it, it's fine, it works so good. The spacing isn't so bad either, and yeah, and then I just kind of tuck them down here with, can you see them here, a bunch of corners here, just to hold them in place so they won't shake around or move around. They're not going back and forth, obviously, by the way it's how it's built, but at least it won't like rattle up and down too much. And I began framing the wet bath or bathroom area. So I was lucky enough, this is just a shower pan from Amazon. Kind of had to cut out the frame here in a little bit, as you can see here, to make it fit, but I think with a little bit of caulking here with silicone it should be fine once I seal it up and I'm done with it. I don't think I will glue down the shower pan. Let's see how I can lift it up here, because what if it cracks or breaks and I need a new one, right? I also pre-drilled a hole all the way down through the vehicle, and I was actually lucky enough to find a place in between the beams as I planned it for the drain and eventually a gray tank. Yeah, so this side here beside the bed, kind of this way here, is gonna be like sort of a lounge area, you know, when I put like an indented seat here, then like a little sofa that comes all the way out. You'll see it as I'm building it, and have like some sort of a living room area, you know, so it's not just bed, washroom and kitchen, right? I want kind of a hangout and chill out area where I can stand up in and sit and read a book or be on my laptop. So this is as far as I've gotten so far. Another thing I want to do is, this is why I marked it here, I sort of want to make a half wall from here to here, so that you kind of have to walk into the washroom, that it's not just like this big hole, big gap, you know, in the middle of the room kind of deal. So yeah, and I've been just using these skinny, I think they're 1x2s is what they're called, because I'm worried that they are splitting, because it's very thin wood, right? I pre-drill those holes first, and then I kind of put them down. I'm not planning on putting the wall all the way up. I'm probably gonna put them just right here below the ceiling, and the reason for that is same as here, just so I can vent out some of the moisture that's gonna build up. Obviously you're in an enclosed space in a van, so I have to dry it manually anyway, but as I'm showering I can kind of put that on and make sure it exhausts all out and dries up properly, right? So this is how far I've gotten, and there's a little bit of space here for some other things beside the bed. I'm gonna tell you about that later on, but yeah, I'm gonna do a few more crossbars across here and then close up the walls just so it's a little bit more sturdy. Okay, thanks for checking in. I'll talk to you guys later. Oh wait, I forgot to mention that so the way how I've attached them is these pillars, I've just like literally just drilled them through the ceiling. So obviously I pre-drilled the holes, and then these boards, they aren't, they're thick enough to actually be sturdy. Same goes with the other side. I think you can kind of see the screw up there, the gap, and then I screwed it in here right into the pre-made frame that I built earlier. Same goes for the other side, and then on the bottom I just drill them right into the floor. Right, I'm gonna do this side too, so it's sitting a little bit better, but that's essentially it. As usual, I show you once it's done. Okay, peace out.